Today's topic is motion under gravity. See, Earth applies gravitational force on all the objects, and that is why objects fall on the surface of Earth when released from a height. If the height of the object is not much, that is negligible as compared to the radius of Earth, that is when the objects are near to the Earth's surface, then we can assume that force and resulting acceleration due to gravity remain nearly constant near the surface of Earth, and this acceleration due to gravity is found to be approximately 9.8 meter per second square, which is sometimes taken as 10 meter per second square as an approximation. So this acceleration, that is the rate of change of velocity with respect to time, that means whenever a body is falling down, its velocity will go on increasing by the rate of 9.8 meter per second every second, and when the body is thrown up, its velocity will go on decreasing by the rate of 9.8 meter per second every second. This acceleration is a vector quantity, that means it has magnitude as well as direction, and the direction of this acceleration due to gravity, we are talking about acceleration due to gravity, g, right? So this acceleration due to gravity is always directed vertically downwards towards the center of the earth. Remember, this acceleration due to gravity is always directed downwards towards the center of the earth. If an object is released from rest from certain height, or it is projected vertically upwards or downwards with some initial velocity, then in these cases motion of the object remains restricted to vertical straight line, and acceleration due to gravity is represented by g and remains constant near the surface of earth. Hence we can use the three equations of motion for uniformly accelerated motion and uh, convert it for studying the motion under gravity, either free fall or you can say vertical throw. To analyze the motion under gravity along vertical straight line, we can assume one of the coordinate axis along the vertical direction. Then we can select upward or downward direction as positive direction, and let us understand the procedure with the help of few examples. For example, an object is thrown vertically upwards with initial velocity u. Whenever an object is thrown vertically upwards, its initial velocity will not be zero. It will have some quantity. Acceleration due to gravity is downwards and hence is directed opposite to the initial velocity given to the object. Acceleration due to gravity is downwards and hence it is directed opposite to the initial velocity given to the object. When the acceleration is in direction opposite to that of the velocity of the particle, the motion of the particle is retarded, right? So value of acceleration will be negative, it will be retardation. So speed of the object will go on decreasing by the rate of 9.8 meter per second every second, and then eventually the object will come to rest after attaining a certain height, and then it will start falling down again. Now they are trying to find out the time and various things involved with the acceleration, with the motion under gravity. Okay, so we can do the same, no need to read all these things. I think let's figure out, let's find out some formulae. Let me write down some formulae and then discuss with you how did I get these formulae and how can we apply it to vertical motion of an object. Okay, so I have some things ready for you. Suppose you're throwing a ball or a body upwards, okay, and you have to find certain things. Number one, time taken by this body to reach the highest position, maximum height. I want all of you to note this down. Okay, please note it down because these derivations will be helpful in certain questions. Okay, final formula is definitely helpful for solving numericals, but certain numericals are derivation based where we will follow the same technique. Okay, so number one, we'll find out the time taken by an object to reach the highest position. So let's take that time as t1. Okay, now which equation of motion are we using? We are using v is equal to u plus at. That's the first equation of motion. In the place of t, I'm writing t1 deliberately because that is the time taken by the body to reach the highest position. Now at highest position, the final velocity will become 0. U we don't know. U is the speed with which we are throwing the body upwards. Acceleration for a body which is traveling upward is negative. The body is continuously retarding. So A will be equal to minus G and time is T1. So basically U will become equal to GT1 and T1 will be equal to U by G. That is our first formula. That is time taken by the object to reach the highest position. Next formula is maximum height attained. Now let the maximum height attained be h. Okay, so here we are using the second equation of motion, s is equal to ut plus half at square. In the place of s, I am writing h. Ut will remain ut plus half at square will will become plus half. In the place of a, there will be minus g into t square. Now, what did I do over here is very interesting. In the place of t, which is the time taken by this object or the body to reach the maximum height, is u by g. I substituted in the place of t u by g because that is the time taken by the object to reach the highest position. So h is equal to u square by g, correct? Minus, this minus sign comes in front, so minus half g multiplied by t square, and t is u by g the whole square, right? So minus half multiplied by g multiplied by u square by g square. G and g square will cut, so we'll get u square by 2g. So here we have u square by g, minus here we have u square by 2g, and if we subtract them, we get 2u square minus u square by 2g, that is u square by 2g. Okay, so this is the maximum height attained in terms of initial velocity and acceleration due to gravity. One more expression, that is total time taken by the body which is thrown up to reach down. What is the total time taken by the body to reach down again after it is thrown up? Now we know that time to reach the highest position will be equal to time to reach down again. The same time body takes when it comes down again. So total time is 2 times t1, that is 2 times u by g, that is 2u by g. So this is the total time to reach bottom, that is time to reach highest position is equal to time to reach back to the ground, which is equal to u by g. So total time is 2 times u by g. So these are the three important parameters which we can derive using the upward throw and uh, equations of uniformly accelerated motion under gravity. So wherever there is a, we consider it to be g. Minus g because it is upward throw. Upward throw is motion against gravity. So it is retarded motion. So that's why we are taking minus g. Okay, so this was upward throw. Now let us consider the next motion, which is free fall. Not downward throw, but free fall. Let an object be released from a height h. Initial velocity definitely will be 0 because the object is just released. It is not thrown down. Acceleration will be positive g because now the body is traveling in the direction of acceleration due to gravity, right? So acceleration due to gravity will be plus g. Final velocity, first parameter to be found out is final velocity of the body just before hitting the ground. Just before hitting the ground. Final velocity just before hitting the ground will be found using the third equation of motion. V square is equal to u square plus 2as. Now v square is unknown, u square is the initial velocity which is 0, and a is plus g. So in the place of 2as, I'm going to write 2gh. So v square is equal to 2gh, or v is equal to under root of 2gh. Okay. Then time taken to touch the ground, time taken to touch the ground. Okay, so we are going to take over here s is equal to ut plus half at square to find the value of t, second equation of motion. Remember, in place of s we are writing h. H is the height from which the object is released. Ut, now u is 0, of course initial velocity 0, so ut will become 0, plus half at square will become plus half gt square. Hence, t square will become 2h by g, right? 2 goes and gets multiplied with h on the other side. G goes in the denominator. So t square becomes 2h by g, and t, if you take square root on both the sides, you get t is equal to under root 2h by g. Now someone might have this question that do we have to remember all these formulae? See, you can derive these formulae. While solving questions also you are free to derive these formulae. But that will take up considerable amount of time of yours. Okay, so it's up to you if you want to memorize. If you're good at memorizing, very well. But in memorizing, if one value goes from here to there, then it will be a problem. So if you ask me as a student, I always prefer to derive, not memorize. I'm not good at memorizing. Okay, so it's up to you. You take the call. If you can derive it, it is very good. If you're good at derivation, that solves a lot of problem, but yeah, takes up little time, so you need to increase your speed. So yeah, these two parameters, that is time taken to touch the ground and final velocity just before hitting the ground or touching the ground, for a freely falling body, are important parameters. Okay, nothing else. Now there is one more example. In this is a peculiar example, and in this the formulae will be a little bit more trickier, but yes, you are always free to derive at any point of time if you cannot remember. So what is this situation? See, suppose a particle is thrown upward with initial velocity u from the top of a building of height h. Suppose the particle is at this point, at this red point, and this particle is above the height h from the ground level. Okay, now the particle is thrown up from this height, vertically up. So what will happen? It will go to certain height and then it will fall back to the ground. So this is the scenario. In this situation, you need to find a certain thing. Okay, so remember that particle is thrown with initial velocity u from top of a building of height capital H. We have to calculate time taken by the particle to reach the ground. Ground पे कभी पहुंचेगा, कितना टाइम लगेगा, वो हमें कैलकुलेट करना है. For this we will take the second equation of motion but little tweaked. Second equation of motion is s is equal to ut plus half at square. S is the displacement, and here the displacement will be y, which will be taken as 0. Why? Because the particle is finally reaching to the ground. Okay, so why we are taking y as 0? Because the total displacement of the particle is considered to be 0. If you think that particle is thrown from this height, then how can the total displacement is 0? See, what we have to do is, uh, if the particle is thrown from this height, we are not concerned only with this height. We are concerned with the motion of the particle and its final destination, that is the ground. Okay, so final destination is the ground. If we consider that particle was thrown from the ground itself, then the displacement would have been 0. The only advantage we have that the particle is thrown from a building of height h. That can be added. That can be added to our problem. So this we have added over here. See, y naught. Y naught is the initial position of the particle plus ut plus half at square. Okay, so if you take y as 0, that is the total displacement, you have to take y naught on the other side as plus h. Initial velocity will be plus u because the particle was thrown up. Acceleration of the particle will be minus g because the particle was thrown up initially. Okay, now if you put the values in this equation, in the place of y you put 0, in the place of y naught you put h, In the place of ut, you put plus u multiplied by t. In the place of half at square, you put plus half multiplied by minus g into t square. You get this kind of equation: gt square minus 2ut minus 2h is equal to 0. Now, from this equation, which looks like a quadratic equation, you need to find the value of t. So you can use quadratic formula, which gives you the value of t as 2u. You remember the quadratic formula, right? So yeah, if you put the values of a, b and c in the quadratic formula, b square minus 4ac, which is in the bracket, which is the discriminant, upon 2a, right? So all these values, if you put in the formula, you get 2u plus minus under root of 4u square plus 8g h upon 2g as the value of t. Okay, now t will be, if you divide this 2g throughout, t will be u by g plus minus under root of u square by g square plus 2h by g. This is the value of t. Now from these, there are two values, u by g plus under root of u square by g square plus 2h by g, and u by g minus under root of u square by g square plus 2h by g. So what we do is, we select only the positive value. Okay, one value is positive, one is negative, so we select only the positive value which bears the plus sign. So we select only that value of t which has got the plus sign, and that is the time taken by the body to reach ground if it is thrown from a building of height h vertically upwards with a velocity u. So this is one of the derivation. We have some questions based on this derivation, and we'll have a look at them. Then they have this trivial thing, graphical representation of motion of an object under free fall. And this is the acceleration time graph, and shows that acceleration always remains constant with time. This is the velocity time graph, which shows that velocity goes on increasing with the slope of the line velocity time graph as g. And we have some okay, we have displacement time graph as well, which is a curved line. Okay, and what we can do is, we can transform, or we can convert the three equation of motion which suits the motion under gravity, that is free fall. So equations of motion, they get converted into, transformed into following for free fall. For free fall, that is motion under gravity. Okay, so first equation is v is equal to u plus at. That gets converted into, see, if it is a free fall, initial velocity will be 0 and acceleration will be g, so it will become v is equal to gt for free fall. For upward throw, final velocity will be 0. So 0 is equal to u minus gt, or we get u is equal to gt for upward throw. The first equation for free fall is this, and for upward throw is this. Okay. Second equation, s is equal to ut plus half at square. Now s will become h, u will definitely become 0 because it's a free fall. So ut will become 0, and half at square will become half gt square. For upward throw, s will become h, u will definitely will not be 0, so it will be ut minus half gt square. This is for upward throw. And the third equation, which is v square is equal to u square plus 2as, it will transform into, for free fall, v square is equal to u will be 0, so 2gh. And for upward throw, the final velocity will be 0, so 0 is equal to u square minus 2gh, or you can say u square is equal to 2gh. So these are the transformed equations for free fall as well as for upward throw. You might want to note them down. See, you can also derive them. You can also derive them at any point of time when we are doing numericals. We are going to do numericals now, and you will see that when we use the you can say derived equations or formulae, and when we derive them on the spot and use them, and which is easier, you will judge for yourself. Okay, then you can decide. So let's start with the numericals. There are not many, maybe 7, 8, or let's say maximum 10 numericals. Let's start. Okay, the first question. A ball is thrown vertically upwards with a velocity of 4.9 meter per second. So this is the question of vertical throw, upward throw. Okay, so initial velocity is 4.9 meter per second. Final velocity will be 0, but let's see what we need to find. Find the maximum height reached by the ball and find the time taken to reach the maximum height. So we have the direct formula, right? If you don't want to use the direct formula, we can also use derivation. So I will choose the method of using derivation, okay? Because direct formula, of course, if we remember, it is just a matter of 2 seconds and we'll get the answer. But let's use the derivation and see what is the technique of getting the answer. So here final velocity will be 0 meter per second, and acceleration due to gravity will be minus 9.8 meter per second square. We have to find the maximum height reached by the ball and time taken to reach the maximum height. So first we'll find the maximum height reached by the ball, that is v square is equal to u square plus 2as. This formula we are going to use, this equation of motion, where v will be 0, u will be 4.9 the whole square, plus 2 into minus 9.8 multiplied by s, which is h. Okay, so this will become uh, 0 is equal to 4.9 the whole square minus 2 into 9.8 into h. Okay, so 2 into 9.8 into h will go to the other side. 2 into 9.8 into h is equal to 4.9 the whole square. That's 4.9 into 4.9. Okay, so h is equal to 4.9 into 4.9 upon 2 into 9.8. Okay, so 9.8 and 4.9 will cut. 4.9 twos are 9.8. Okay, so we have got 4.9 by 4, that is 49 by 40. Okay, now since we have got this 49 by 40, if we divide, we get the height, which is approximately 1.225 meter. 1.225 meter. If you want, you can do the calculation and check. Okay, after this, we have to find the time taken to reach the maximum height. So for that, we are going to use the second equation of motion, that is v is equal to u plus at, which is 0, because final velocity is v is 0. 4.9 plus a is minus 9.8 multiplied by time, which is minus 4.9 is equal to minus 9.8 times t. Minus minus gets cut, so 4.9 divided by 9.8 is equal to t. 4.9 ones are 4.9 twos are, so time is equal to 1 by 2, which is 0.5 seconds. Simple. So if we use the direct formula which we have derived earlier, you could have got this answer very easily. You can, if you can remember, you can use the direct formula. If you cannot remember, then it's a problem. Then you have to use this full method. Okay, both answers are correct. Let's go to the next question. A stone is thrown vertically upwards from the top of a building with a speed of 14.7 meter per second. Initial velocity is 14.7 meter per second. If it returns to the earth in 8 seconds, that is, time taken is 8 seconds, calculate the height of the building, that is h. Great. Now see, here the acceleration due to gravity will be minus 9.8 meter per second square. So we can use this formula, which was y is equal to y naught uh, plus ut plus half at square, ut plus half at square. Okay, now in the place of y, we are going to, since it is going to return to earth, that is on the ground, so we are going to write 0. In the place of y naught, I'm going to write h. In the place of ut, I'm going to write 14.7 multiplied by 8. In the place of half gt square, I'm going to write half multiplied by, in the place of a, I'm going to write minus 9.8 multiplied by t square, that is 8 square. Okay, so only h is remaining over here. You can simply figure this out. So 0 is equal to, you might need to do some calculation, so please help yourself. H comes to this side, this becomes minus h is equal to 14.7 multiplied by 14.7 multiplied by 8. 14.7 multiplied by 8. It is 117.6. 117.6, and this will be minus, so we have 8 square, which is 64. 64 divided by 2 is 32, so 9.8 multiplied by 32. 9.8 multiplied by 32, that is 313.6. So minus h is equal to 117.6 minus 313.6. So minus h is equal to minus 117.6, that's 196, minus 196. Therefore h is equal to 196 meters. Okay, so we used that technique which we had seen in the derivation. We did not use any derivation, but we used that technique from the derivation, and that certainly helped us to get the answer. Now let's check the answer is correct or not. Height of the building is 196 meter. Yeah, it's absolutely correct. I think they also used the same technique, except they did not write any y naught or anything like that. But yeah, that's, I found that quite easy. Okay, let's go to the next question. Okay, next question. Using the information given in example 2, find the greatest height reached by the stone above the ground. Okay, so this is the same example which they are citing to, and they want us to find that how much what will be the greatest height which will be reached, which will be achieved, which will be attained by this stone. Okay, now see, what we'll do is we'll consider this point as the ground. When we'll consider this as a ground level, and from this ground level the ball is, or sorry, the stone is thrown upward with a velocity of 14.8 meter per second, and the acceleration due to gravity is minus 9.8 meter per second square, and we can definitely find the greatest height reached, right? So let's do it. So greatest height reached can be found by using v square is equal to u square plus 2as. Now the final velocity at the greatest height will be 0, is equal to u square, which is 14.7 the whole square, minus 2 into 9.8, because it's upward throw, multiplied by s In the place of S, I'm going to write H. Okay, so this is going to become 2 into 9.8 is 19.6. Am I correct? Yes, I'm correct. So 19.6 H is equal to 14.7 square. So H is equal to 14.7 square, that is 14.7 multiplied by 14.7 upon 19.6. Let's calculate. So please do the calculation in the meanwhile. So we have got 14.7 multiplied by 14.7 divided by 19.6. So we get approximately 11.025 or 11.03 or 11 approximately meters. Now this is above the level of building, above the height, above the building height. Okay, so total height of stone is equal to 196, which I remember from the previous question, height of the building, plus 11.025, which is 207.025 meter. This is the total height reached by the stone. The second question is the velocity with which it strikes the ground. Great. Now let's assume that the body is free falling from this height, right? Because this is the height from which it is falling down. So the height with which from which it is free falling is 207.025. Okay, and we don't know the time. We know the height 207.025. We don't know the time. We don't know the velocity. We know the initial velocity. At maximum height, the velocity becomes zero, and then it starts falling down. So initial velocity can be taken as 0 meter per second. Okay, and the acceleration due to gravity, yes, is 9.8 meter per second square. So we can definitely find the maximum velocity. So we'll again use v square is equal to u square plus 2as, where final velocity is not known, u is 0, so u square will be 0, so this will be 2 multiplied by 9.8 multiplied by 207.025. Okay, so we have 207.025 multiplied by 9.8 multiplied by 2. Okay, so we get over here 4057.69. So v square is equal to 4057.69, which implies that v is equal to under root of 4057.69. Okay, so let's take its square root. 4057.69 square root is approximately 63.7 meter per second. So the stone will strike the ground with this velocity, 63.7 meter per second. And what will be the time to reach the maximum height? Okay, so we know that the maximum height is 11.025. So if we use the second equation of motion, I think we should be able to get it. Let's use it. So second equation of motion is S is equal to ut plus half at square. Now S is 11.025 is equal to u, that is the initial velocity with which the ball is thrown upward. Sorry, the stone is thrown upward. That is 14.7 multiplied by the time. We have to find the time, right? What we have to find? the time taken to reach the maximum height, yeah, so multiplied by t. Now it is thrown upward, so plus half multiplied by minus 9.8 multiplied by t square. So I think we can simplify this and get the time. So 11.025 is equal to 14.7 times t plus, okay, so this will be minus, let me just change it into minus half multiplied by minus 9.8, which is 4.9 t square, 4.9, I'm sorry, 4.9 t square. Okay, 4.9 t square. So this will be 4.9 t square minus 14.7 t plus 110.25 is equal to 0. Now this looks like a very complicated equation, but nonetheless it's a quadratic equation. So what you can do is, for to get rid of all the decimal points, you can multiply the whole equation by 100, basically both the sides by 100. So it will become 490 t square minus 1470 t plus 11025 is equal to 0. Okay, now that's a huge equation which we have got over here. But hey, why have we used this equation? Because I don't want to use this equation. So okay, so let me keep this in option, and let me also try, why can't we use v is equal to u plus at? Just now I figured that if we take the final velocity at the maximum height to be 0, and u, that is 14.7, and g, that is minus 9.8, this is easier, man. So minus 9.8 times t is equal to 14.7, and if the final velocity is 0, then we can get time as 14.7. Hey, this is plus by 9.8, so 147 by 98, which is approximately 1.5 seconds. Yeah, so please don't go this way. This is, yeah, you will get the correct answer, but I don't know why did I do that, because that's complicated. Anyways, yeah, so we've got all the answers. The first answer is 207.025, correct. The second answer is 63.7, that is the velocity, and the time is approximately 1.5 seconds. Okay, next question. A ball is thrown vertically upwards with a velocity of 20 meter per second from the top of a multi-story building. Okay, so initial velocity of the ball is 20 meter per second. It is the same situation. It is thrown vertically upwards from a multi-story building. The height of the point from where the ball is thrown is 25 meter from the ground. So that is h, 25 meter. How high will the ball rise, and how long will it be before the ball hits the ground? How high will the ball rise? We can find out. See, when the ball rises, goes up, the final velocity becomes 0 meter per second, and the acceleration due to gravity is minus 9.8 meter per second square. So how high the ball rise can be found out using the formula v square is equal to u square plus 2as, that is 0 is equal to 20 square plus 2 bracket plus 2 bracket minus 9.8 multiplied by the height, that is you can say small h, right? So this will be 0 is equal to 400, this will be minus 19.6 multiplied by small h. So we can say that 19.6 h is equal to 400, or h is equal to 400 divided by 19.6. Okay, so we have got the height which is approximately 20 meters approximately, but since we have decimals, so let's figure it out. It is 400 divided by 19.6, so 20.40 or 41, 20.41 meters. So this is the height to which the ball will rise above that multi-story building. Okay, and how high will the ball rise, that we have got, and how long will it be before the ball hits the ground, that is the time. So to find the time, can we say that u is v is equal to u plus at? V is the final velocity just before it hits the ground, I think. So no, we don't know that. mm, V is equal to u plus at, h is equal to ut plus half at square, or v square is equal to u square plus 2as. Yeah, might be, it can be, because we have to find the time. So let's see. No, v square is equal to u square plus 2as will give you the velocity just before it hits the ground. So let's do that. First, we'll use v square is equal to u square plus 2as, where v is the final velocity just before it hits the ground. U is the initial velocity when it is dropping down. See, I'm considering that part of motion where the ball is already at its maximum height after being thrown, and then it is free falling down. So the initial velocity will become 0. Plus 2 multiplied by A's value will be 9.8, and the height will be, see, height of the building from which the ball is thrown is 25 meter, and the ball is 20 meter above that height, so it is at 45 meter height. 25 plus 20, I'm considering 20 round off, so let me consider it 45. So v square is equal to, see, 45 twos are 90, and 90 tens are approximately 900. So you must be thinking that this is in point, but yeah, just for the sake of simplicity of calculation, I've considered this as 10, and 45 twos are 90, 90 tens are 900. So v is equal to 30 meter per second. Just before it hits the ground, it attains this velocity. So we can apply the first equation of motion after this, which will make our job easier. V is equal to u plus at. Final velocity is 30, initial velocity is 0, plus this is let's say 10 multiplied by t. So time taken will be 30 divided by 10, right? So 3 seconds. It will take 3 seconds approximately for the ball to hit the ground. How long will it be before the ball hits the ground? But wait. This is just the time. This is just the time for ball to hit the ground after it reaches the maximum height. But what about when the ball is thrown? How much time does it take to go that high? We have to find that as well, right? So how we'll find that? So we can use this formula. V is equal to u plus at. With what speed it was thrown? 20 meter per second. So v is equal to u plus at. See, final velocity is 0. U, this is the case, this is free fall, okay? Free fall. And this is the case before that, that is upward throw. Because I want to find the total time which ball takes before it hits the ground. So final velocity for upward throw is 0, initial velocity is 20, acceleration I'll take minus 10, time as t, so this will become minus 20 is equal to minus 10t, so t is equal to 2 seconds. So 2 seconds when you throw it up, it reaches the maximum position, and 3 seconds to for that ball to come down. So total time taken is 5 seconds. Let's check if the answer is correct. So the first is 20 meter, that is correct, and time is 5 seconds. So they have used this equation which I did not want to, because it gives you complicated quadratic equation, but this was easy actually. But still, the method which we have used that is finding the time for two journeys. That is, when you throw the ball up and it reaches the maximum height, that is one time, t1, 2 seconds. It takes 2 seconds for the ball to reach the maximum height. Then from that maximum height to fall to the ground, it takes 3 seconds. So total time taken by the ball to reach the ground is 5 seconds. That's what the answer is, and it is correct. Let's go to the next question. A boy projects a stone vertically upward and catches it back after 5 seconds. How high the stone goes and with what velocity was it thrown? Also calculate the separation between the highest point and the stone 4 seconds after it was projected upwards. Very nice question. Okay, so boy projects a stone vertically upwards and catches it back after 5 seconds. So time taken for body to travel up and come back down is equal to 5 seconds. It takes 5 seconds for the body to travel up and come back down. Okay, now therefore time taken for upward journey is equal to time taken for downward free fall is equal to 5 by 2, which is 2.5 seconds. So it takes 2.5 seconds for the ball to go up and then come down. Okay, now we don't know with what velocity was the ball thrown, but we know one thing. If we apply v is equal to u plus at, the final velocity will become 0 for upward throw. So this is upward throw. The final uh, velocity will become 0. Initial velocity with which the ball was thrown, we don't know. The acceleration is minus 9 point. Okay, you have to take acceleration as 10. Okay, we saved some time for calculation here. So minus 10 multiplied by 2.5. Why 2.5? Because it takes 2.5 seconds for the ball to go up to the highest position. So we can say that 0 is equal to u minus 25. So u is equal to 25 meter per second. So the ball was thrown, stone was thrown up with a velocity of 25 meter per second. How high the stone goes? How high the stone goes? See, we can use v square is equal to u square plus 2as. Okay, so v square is 0, u square is 25 square plus 2 multiplied by minus 10 multiplied by s, which is h. We don't know how high does it go, right? So 0 is equal to 625 minus 20h. So 20h is equal to 625 and h is equal to 625 by 20. So 5 4s are 5, 125s are 125, 5s are 625, I think so. Yes. So 125 divided by 4, that is the height. So 120, the half of 125 is 62.5. Half of 125 is 62.5, yes. And half of 62.5 is 31.25. So height attained by the stone is 31.25 meter. That is the maximum height it attains. Now the last question, it says that it asks that also calculate the separation between the highest point and the stone after 4 seconds after it was projected. So how high will the stone be after 4 seconds of its projection? We can find that. Using, see, because we don't know the velocity after 4 seconds. But do we know the displacement? No, we don't know the displacement. So if we know the time, that is 4 seconds. So if we use S is equal to ut plus half at square, that will work. So S is equal to ut plus half at square. So S is the distance which we want to find. We'll take it as h dash is equal to ut, that is 25 multiplied by 4, because we want to find what is the height after 4 seconds, right? Plus half multiplied by minus 10, because it is thrown up, multiplied by t square, that is 4 square. Yeah, so this will give us the idea. This is 100 minus, this will be 5. 5 into 4 square, 5 into 16 is 80. So 100 minus 80 is 20 meter. So after 4 seconds, see, after you throw the ball or stone, after 4 seconds, it reaches a height of 20 meter. And what is the maximum height it reaches? 31.25 meters. So what they are asking is separation between the highest point, that is this point, and the stone 4 seconds after it was projected upwards. So the stone is here after 4 seconds. So what is the separation between them? So separation is equal to 31.25 minus 20, which is 11.25 meter. Let's check if that is the correct answer. So yeah, our answers are: how high the stone goes is 31.25 meter, with what velocity it was thrown, 25 meter, and the separation 11.25. Let's check the answer. 25 meter, 31.25 meter, and 11.25. Absolutely correct. Let's go to the next question without wasting any time. A hot air balloon is projected vertically with a net vertical acceleration of 4 meter per second square upwards. Net, they are saying net vertical acceleration. Okay, so net vertical acceleration means downward acceleration minus upward acceleration. That net acceleration is 4 meter per second square by lighting its burner. The burner is blown out in 2 minutes, but the balloon continues to move up. Okay, find the maximum height reached by the balloon before it starts to come down again. Beautiful question. Okay, great. So what we have here, we have a hot air balloon which is projected vertically. So balloon projected vertically and any object thrown vertically, they both seem the same thing. But only thing is, the balloon is not slowing down as it goes up. Its speed is increasing at the rate of 4 meter per second every second. That is the only difference, because balloon has a driving force of that burner which is producing hot air. So if the burner is turned on, it travels up with the speed of 4 meter per second square without retardation. In fact, it is accelerating upwards. Okay, so net acceleration of balloon in upward direction is 4 meters per second square. 4 meters per second square. Now the burner is blown out in 2 minutes, but the balloon continues to move up. So for 2 minutes, balloon will keep on accelerating. Now, what is the initial velocity of balloon? This is the acceleration. What is the initial velocity? Initial velocity is 0 meter per second. What is the time for which it is accelerating upwards? 2 minutes. So time is equal to 2 minutes, which is equal to 120 seconds. Time is 2 minutes, which is equal to 120 seconds. Okay, so they say that balloon is blown out in 2 minutes. Sorry, burner is blown out in 2 minutes, but balloon continues to move up. So what happens is after after the burner is blown out after 2 minutes, the net acceleration, net upward acceleration of the balloon will go on decreasing and it will become zero. And when the net acceleration becomes zero, it will, I think after 2 minutes, because the burner is blown out in 2 minutes. So after 2 minutes, the net acceleration becomes zero. If the net acceleration becomes zero, then what will happen? What will happen? Because that is not clear. We can find the velocity. We can find the velocity after 2 minutes. What velocity does the balloon attains? Yeah, let's find the velocity. Okay. So what happens is, what I can think is, okay, balloon was here. The balloon was here, let's suppose. Okay. And this balloon, it went up to a certain height. इसको थोड़ा छोटा कर देता हूँ. ठीक है. एंड इसको एक मिनट, यस, इसको कॉपी कर देते हैं. Just a moment. Okay, so this is the ground level. The balloon started accelerating from this point, this place, and while accelerating, it reached this height. So this is basically the height which is achieved by the balloon. So this much distance was traveled by the balloon, you can say. This is the distance traveled by the balloon while accelerating for 4 meter per second square. But what happens after this? Why does it keep on rising? Because it has an upward velocity. So ये तो ऐसी बात हो गई कि ये एक हाइट है, यहाँ तक तो बलून पहुंच गया. अब इसके बाद की जो जर्नी है वो बलून अगेंस्ट द एक्सेलरेशन ड्यू टू ग्रेविटी करेगा. ये ऐसी बात हो गई कि हम किसी बिल्डिंग जो एच मीटर टॉल है, वो बिल्डिंग के टॉप के ऊपर से किसी बॉल को ऊपर फेंक रहे हैं. तो यहां तक तो वो बॉल कैसे आया उसका कोई लेना देना नहीं है अपने को. वो बिल्डिंग के रूफ के ऊपर बॉल आ गया है, अब उसके ऊपर उसको हम फेंक रहे हैं. तो ये ऐसी कुछ बात है. ठीक है, कि बलून यहां तक तो एक्सेलरेट करके आ गया, इसके बाद क्या कि बर्नर बंद हो गया. बर्नर बंद हो गया मतलब वो एक्सेलरेट नहीं करेगा, तो क्या करेगा? वो डिसेलरेट करेगा. किसकी वजह से? एक्सेलरेशन ड्यू टू ग्रेविटी की वजह से, जो डाउनवर्ड डायरेक्शन में है. ठीक है, तो इसके बाद तो बहुत ही वो नॉर्मल वाला सिनेरियो हो जाएगा कि एक्सेलरेशन की वैल्यू हमें क्या लेनी पड़ेगी? जी, दैट इज 9.8. बट वेलोसिटी क्या होगी? तो वो जो फाइनल वेलोसिटी होगी आफ्टर 2 मिनट्स, दैट विल बी द वेलोसिटी एट दिस हाइट h. ठीक है, हमें क्या ढूंढना है? फाइंड द मैक्सिमम हाइट रीच बाय द बलून बिफोर इट स्टार्ट्स टू कम डाउन अगेन. हो जाएगा, कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है. सो सबसे पहले to find the height with which at which the balloon goes with this acceleration. We know acceleration, we know initial velocity and we know time. So we can use this equation S is equal to ut plus half at square. इनिशियल वेलोसिटी जीरो नहीं होगा यार इस पे. इनिशियल वेलोसिटी जीरो कैसे होगा? A hot air balloon is projected vertically with a net vertical acceleration of 4 मीटर पर सेकेंड स्क्वायर. मतलब ऊपर की तरफ उसको प्रोजेक्ट कर रहे हैं, तो इनिशियल वेलोसिटी जीरो लेंगे हम लोग, फिर उसकी स्पीड धीरे धीरे बढ़ती जाएगी. हाँ, शायद हो सकता है ऐसा. सो आई एम लिटिल बिट कंफ्यूज्ड ओवर हियर बिकॉज यहाँ पे फाइनल वेलोसिटी तो डेफिनेटली जीरो नहीं होगी. ओके, चलो जीरो लेके देख लेते हैं. पहले एस की जगह पे आ जाएगा एच, यू की जगह आ जाएगा जीरो, टाइम की जगह आ जाएगा 120 सेकेंड्स प्लस हाफ मल्टीप्लाइड बाय ए विच इज 4. देखो नेट एक्सेलरेशन ले रहा हूं मैं, ठीक है. सो एंड टी स्क्वेयर, सो दैट इज 120 स्क्वेयर. ठीक है, सो एच कितना हो जाएगा? ये हो जाएगा 2. सो दिस इज 14,400 multiplied by 2, that is 28,800 meters, which is too much of height here. This is like 28.8 kilometer. 28.8 kilometer. ओके, सो इतना ऊपर 28.8 किलोमीटर ऊपर आ जाएगा और उसके बाद क्या होगा? सो दैट्स वेयर आई फील दैट इनिशियल वेलोसिटी, अगर मैं इनिशियल वेलोसिटी जीरो नहीं लेता तो ये और ज्यादा आता. इनिशियल वेलोसिटी जब मैंने जीरो ली है तब जाके ये हालत है कि एक्सेलरेशन, नेट वर्टिकल एक्सेलरेशन को मैंने 4 मीटर पर सेकेंड स्क्वायर लिया है. ओके, नेट बोला है इसलिए मैंने 4 लिया है. अगर सिर्फ वर्टिकल एक्सेलरेशन बोलते हैं तो मैं 4 माइनस 9.8 करता, क्योंकि अभी डाउनवर्ड एक्सेलरेशन भी तो हमें कंसिडर करना पड़ेगा. लेकिन यहाँ तो नेट वर्टिकल एक्सेलरेशन बोला है. ठीक है, 28,800 मीटर मुझे मिल रहा है. ये इतनी हाइट पे तो ये पहुंच गया बलून. अब क्या? अब ये और ऊपर जाएगा, बट ये हाइट पे उसकी फाइनल वेलोसिटी कितनी होगी ये भी ढूंढना पड़ेगा. सो वी कैन अप्लाई v इज इक्वल टू यू प्लस ए टी. ठीक है, v नहीं पता है, u जीरो है, a है 4, टाइम कितना लगा? 120 seconds. 120 seconds. So v is equal to 480 मीटर पर सेकेंड. ये तो बहुत फास्ट हो गया यार, 480 मीटर्स पर सेकेंड. ये बलून की स्पीड होगी एट दिस हाइट 28,800 मीटर. एंड नाउ सी, v being 480 meter per second, the final velocity u at after this height, above this height, final velocity u somewhere will become 0 meter per second. And the acceleration due to gravity will be, let's take it as minus 10 meter per second square for ease of calculation. And what we have to find? The maximum height reached, right? So we'll find h2, that's, I will call it h2, क्योंकि ये सारी जो चीजें मैं ढूंढ रहा हूं that is after this height h, तो ये h1 ले लेता हूं, और after this height जो भी height reach करेगा that is your h2. So again v square is equal to u square plus 2as, और v square is 480, the whole square is equal to u square 0 है, और ये हो जाएगा 2 into minus 10 multiplied by s, that is we don't know. Is everything okay? V square is equal to u square plus 2as, that is acceleration is negative. Why is the height coming negative in this? I have no clue. What is the problem? Acceleration तो upward जा रहा है, इसलिए नेगेटिव ही लेंगे. वेलोसिटी भी सही है, v square is equal to u square plus 2as, वो भी सही है फॉर्मूला. ठीक है, 2as, s की जगह मैं ले लेता हूँ h2. सो ये हो जाएगा -20. Why is it coming in negative? ओ, हमने एक मिस्टेक की है। एक्चुअली ये मैंने गलती कर दी है, देखो। जब ये इस हाइट से ऊपर जाएगा तो उसकी इनिशियल वेलोसिटी 480 होगी और फाइनल वेलोसिटी 0 होगी। तो यहीं पे तो मैंने गलती कर दिया। ठीक है। ओके, तो अब समझ में आ गया। ये हो गया 0 = 480 द होल स्क्वायर प्लस 2 इंटू -10 मल्टीप्लाइड बाय h2। ठीक है। अब क्या हो जाएगा ये हो जाएगा यहाँ पे -20, सॉरी +20 h हो जाएगा। ये इस साइड इज इक्वल टू 480 मल्टीप्लाइड बाय 480। 0 0 will get cut and 2 will get cut with 24. So h will be 24 multiplied by 480. Let's see how much do we have got here. So 28, sorry, 24 multiplied by 480. 24 multiplied by 480 is 11,520, approximately 11,520. So this is the height above 28,800 feet which the balloon will reach. So the total height, maximum height reached by the balloon is 11,520 plus 28,800, 40,320. Now remember that for ease of calculation, I have taken the acceleration due to gravity as 10. If they have taken 9.8, their answer will be slightly different. My answer is the sum of these two, 28,800 and 11,520, that is 40,000 meters, 40,320 meters. Okay, the first answer is correct. The velocity is also correct, and around 40,555 they are getting. So approximately 41 kilometer they are saying. So 41 kilometer high the balloon will rise. Okay. So the previous question had some issue with signs plus and minus, which I did not agree on. So I spent some time on it, but could not justify why certain signs were taken, although the steps were quite simple. So I'm not discussing that question as of now. Moving to the next question. A ball is thrown upward with a speed of 20 meter per second from the ground. So initial velocity is 20 meter per second for upward throw. Another ball is dropped from rest from a building 80 meter high at the same time. Okay, so for another ball, initial velocity is 0 meter per second, and the distance is 80 meter, the height you can say h2. Okay, here acceleration due to gravity, they've not given it, so I'll take it as 10 meter per second square plus 10, because it's falling down, and here the acceleration due to gravity will be -10 meter per second square. Find the difference in their heights after they have fallen for 2 seconds. Fallen or traveled for 2 seconds. So one ball is thrown upward and another is dropped down. So after 2 seconds, we have to find the difference in their heights. Okay. See here, in both the places, we have to take time as 2 seconds. And in both the places, we have to find the height, the distance which is covered, basically. Okay. So distance covered in 2 seconds. Distance covered in 2 seconds for ball 1, and here I'll calculate for ball 2. Okay, so what is the case for ball 1? Distance covered in 2 seconds. See, we have got u, initial velocity, g and t, so we can consider S is equal to ut plus half at square. S is equal to ut plus half into minus gt square, right? G is minus. Wait, let's not write that like that. That's not the right way. Half gt square. Okay, so S is the distance covered in 2 seconds. That's the height. U is 20. T is 2 seconds plus half multiplied by G is minus 10. G is minus 10 meter per second square multiplied by square of time, that is 2 square. Okay, so we can find this out. Height will be 40 minus 20, that is 20 meter. So after 2 seconds, this ball 1 covers a distance of 20 meter. It is 20 meter above the ground. 20 meter above the ground. What about the ball 2? Okay, so the ball 2, let me take, okay, for the ball 2, it is being dropped down from a height. Now, from what height it is being dropped down to, that does not matter actually. We just have to travel how much distance it covers in 2 seconds. Okay, so first we'll find out how much distance it covers. That is, actually there are a lot of h over here and there. Like here you see h, I will name it as h1. I will name this as capital H. Okay, and here I'm going to find h2. So h2 is equal to ut, that is 0 multiplied by t, plus half gt square, plus half gt square. That is h2 is equal to half multiplied by 10 multiplied by t square, that is 2 square. So h2 is also 20 meter. Great. So the second ball also falls down uh, by a distance of 20 meter. Now understand this thing. This is a building which is 80 meter high. Okay. One ball is dropped up to here, which is 20 meter. Another ball is thrown up from here, which is 20 meter. Okay, and the total height is 80 meter. So if you subtract 20 plus 20, 40 from this 80 meter, what will you have left? You will have 40 meters left. That means the answer to first question is 40 meter, I think so. Let me just check. Yeah, find the difference in their heights after they have fallen for 2 seconds. So you can write here, therefore, difference in heights after 2 seconds is equal to 40 meter. Correct? What is the next question? This was the answer of first question. Next question is, if the balls are along the same line of motion, when will they collide? Oh, that is amazing. So what they are saying is, this is over here and let me erase a few things. So both the balls are traveling towards each other. Both the balls are traveling towards each other. They are saying that when they will collide. Now we know that both the balls are traveling a distance of 20 meter in 2 seconds each. Both are traveling a distance of 20 meter in 2 seconds each. When they will collide. Hmm. So what we have to do is we have to take this point of collision at a distance of x meter from the ground, such that it will be at a distance of 80 minus x meter from the top. From the top, the distance will be 80 minus x meters, and from the ground, the distance will be x meters. Cool. Hmm. At this point, they will collide. They are asking when it will collide. But if we can find the value of x at which they are going to collide, then I think it will be easy. So one thing we know that if we can find an equation in terms of this displacement made by both the balls, then it will be easy. See, the formula for displacement, that is height or displacement, S is equal to ut plus half at square. Correct? So for both the balls, we can make up this formula S1 and S2. Okay, ut plus half at square. And S1 we can consider it to be uh, x meters, initial velocity with which the first ball is thrown up is 20 meter per second. So 20 multiplied by t plus half into minus 10 multiplied by t square. Okay, so this will be equation number 1. For equation number 2, we have S2, which is 80 minus x is equal to ut. Now here u is 0, initial velocity is 0 for the ball which is being dropped down. So ut will become 0. This will remain half gt square. So half multiplied by 10 multiplied by t square. So this will become 5. This will become minus 5. So x is equal to 20t minus 5t square, and here 80 minus x is equal to 5t square. I think we can find it. I think so, I'm not sure. So if we add both the equations, we get x plus 80 minus x is equal to 20t minus 5t square plus 5t square. Okay, so minus 8 minus x plus x gets cut, 5t square gets cut, and t becomes 80 by 20, which is 4 seconds. So that means both the balls will meet after 4 seconds or collide after 4 seconds. I think that seems to be the correct answer. And let's also find at what height they will collide. Let's find out what height from the ground they will collide. So we have to put this value of t in the first equation. X is equal to 20t minus 5t square. So x is equal to 20 multiplied by 4 minus 5 multiplied by 4 square. So x is equal to 80 minus 4 square is 16, 5s are 80. Hey, how come it is coming 0? Wait, we are getting uh, minus 5t square, and t is equal to 4, x is equal to 20t minus 5t square. I don't know why am I not getting it now. What if I put it in the other place? If I put the value of t over here, hey, then also I'm getting 0. How come I'm getting 0 as the value of x? Okay, I think I should not use this equation to find the value of x. Wait, I'm just going to use some other technique. I'm sorry for taking so much of time, but yeah, I'm actually solving these questions. These are not the ready-made solutions which I'm just discussing with you. Yes, so S is equal to ut plus half at square. We can just find the distance traveled by the first ball in 4 seconds. Na? So S is equal to 20 multiplied by 4 plus half multiplied by minus 10 multiplied by 4 square, right? So this will be 80 and this will be minus 5. Hey, again we are getting the same thing. That is 4 square is 16, 16 5 is 80. How come we are getting 0? I don't understand that. Okay, guys, now it's up to you. Uh, wait, what was the first answer? Find the difference in their heights after they've fallen 2 seconds, 40 meter, and the time comes out to be 4 seconds. Let's first check the answers. Okay, so difference in their heights is 40. See, they are getting 19.6 and all because they are taking G as 9.8, and the time which we are getting is 4 seconds at a height of 1.6 meter from the ground. 4 seconds is correct, but height we are not getting, and they have used some other method. So I want all of you to figure out what is that other method. I'm not going to show it to you and discuss with you. Let's go to the next question. A stone is dropped from a stationary hot air balloon in the air and travels 14.7 meter in the last second before it hits the ground. Wow, this is interesting. It travels 14.7 meter in the last second. That is the nth second, I think. Find the height of the balloon from the ground. Cool. So here we know one thing, that distance traveled in the nth second is 14.7 meter, and the acceleration due to gravity is 10 meter per second square approximately. Okay, so what is the formula for nth second? Distance traveled in nth second. The formula is u plus a by 2. In the place of a by 2 we have g by 2, bracket 2n minus 1. Okay, so 14.7 is equal to u. A stone is dropped from a stationary hot air balloon. Hey, u will be 0, right? Yes. 0 plus 10 by 2, bracket 2n minus 1. So this will become 5. So 14.7 divided by 5 is equal to 2n minus 1. So this will become 14.7 multiplied by 2. 147 multiplied by 2 is 280, 294, 29.4. So why I'm doing it? Because I get 29.4 divided by 10 is equal to 2n minus 1, and this will become 2.94 plus 1 is equal to 2n. So 2n is equal to 3.94. So n is equal to 3.94 divided by 2. So n is equal to, what is 394 divided by 2? 394 is near to 400, and this should be 197. 197, so 1.97 approximately. 1.97. Okay, so what is this 1.97? It's, I think, very close to uh, 2 seconds. Let me just figure it out. So 3.94 divided by 2, 1.97 is correct. So they mean in this question that in the last second, they say that in the last second before it hits the ground, so that last second, we've taken it nth second, and n comes out to be 1.97, which is approximately 2. So therefore time is equal to 2. So we've got the time, and what do we have to find? So time taken for the balloon to fall from that height. Find the height of the balloon from the ground. So we know the time which an object takes to reach the ground from this height. What is the height? So h is equal to ut plus half at square. So h is equal to, see, u is 0. So ut will become 0 plus half at square. Half into a, acceleration is acceleration is 10, excuse me, multiplied by t square, which is 2 square. So 2 gets cut with the square, and height is approximately 20 meter. So the balloon is at a height of 20 meter, and it drops something which takes 2 seconds to come down, and it travels 14.7 meter in the last second. Okay, so time is 2 seconds and the height is 19.6 meter. Okay, we don't have to find the time, we have to find the height of the balloon, but that n is the time. Last question, and I'm almost sleepy. These are very tedious questions. We are going to have more like these, don't worry. A body is falling freely under gravity. It passes 2 points A and B, A being higher than B. Okay, 20 meter apart vertically in 2 seconds. So a body is falling down like this, and in its fall, it passes 2 points. One is A and other is B. And the distance between A and B is 20 meter. And it takes 2 seconds for the body to travel from A to B. A to B, it takes 2 seconds. Okay, so 20 meter fall takes 2 seconds basically. Okay, find the elevation of point above A from where it began to fall. Okay. So let the body start falling from point, let's say, X. Okay, and the distance it covered, let this distance be h. So after it covers h distance, to cover 20 meter it takes 2 seconds. Okay, so here at point A, it will have some initial velocity. So initial velocity at point x is 0 meter per second. Okay, at point A, it will have some velocity, and then it will cover 20 meter in 2 seconds. So that is the case. We have to find the elevation of point A, point above A from it begin to fall. Falling freely under gravity passes 2 points 20 meter apart vertically in 2 seconds. Okay, got the idea. Now how to solve this? Interesting, man. Okay, so we know the initial velocity at point X, which is 0 meter per second. What do we know? What else do we know? We know that acceleration due to gravity over here is 10 meter per second square approximately. So we know U, we know G. How do we find H? See, we cannot find H directly, but there must be something. Acha. So what we do is here at A, we take the velocity as V, the final velocity. Okay, and that is not known to us. That is unknown. We take this velocity to be x meter per second. Remember, this x is the position, capital X, this small x is the velocity. Okay, and after falling 20 meter, what will be the velocity? We don't know. In terms of x, we can definitely find. But we also know the time, 2 seconds, and the distance fallen. So we can definitely find the value which is missing. Let's think. We know the acceleration also over here. Okay, if we imagine, no, we cannot imagine that. I was thinking we can imagine point B to be the ground, but that does not serve the purpose. Hmm. Okay, let's take this first phase into consideration where initial velocity is 0 meter per second, final velocity is x meter per second, acceleration due to gravity is 10 meter per second square, and height is h. If we take this initial scenario into consideration, what equation can we build? H mhm, v square is equal to u square plus 2as. So x square is equal to 0. This will become 0 plus 2as. A is 10, so 2 into 10 into h. Okay, so finally we are getting h in terms of x. Yeah, that's what we wanted. This will help. Okay, so this will become h is equal to, hey, we want x in terms of h, right? Not h in terms of x. Anyways, we get h is equal to x square by 20, or we get let me just write that the other way. We get x is equal to under root of 20h. X is equal to under root of 20h. Okay, so we have got the velocity here, x in terms of h, that is under root of 20h meter per second. Now what? Now we are going to take the velocity, and we know the displacement and we know the time. So we can use s is equal to ut plus half at square, where s is the height, which is 20, u is the initial velocity, which is x, which is root of 20h plus half multiplied by 10 multiplied by time taken is 2 seconds to fall from A to B. So we are going to take 2 square over here, 2 when this gets cut. So 20 is equal to root 20 times h plus 20. 20 gets cut from both the side. So root 20 times h is equal to 0. Are you kidding me? Again, I'm getting weird answers. So 20h is 0 and h is 20. H is 0, I'm sorry, h is 0. Why am I getting an answer like this? I used v square is equal to, sorry, s is equal to ut plus half at square. S is 20. Initial velocity is x, which is root of 20h. Am I correct? X is equal to 20h or root of 20h. Okay. Multiplied by t. Did I multiply by t over here? No, I did not. See, that's my mistake. I'm sorry for that. I'm sorry to make this video unnecessary longer, but yeah, it has happened. So bear with me. Root of 20h multiplied by the time. What is the time? 2 plus half multiplied by 10 into 2 square. So 20 is equal to 2 root 20h plus this 2 gets cut over here. 20 both sides. Oh my god, still I'm getting the same thing, man. 2 root 20h is equal to 0 I'm getting. So that means the same. Oh. Should I solve it by splitting? Not splitting, I mean taking out common. Should I solve it like this? Uh, S is 20. This is 20 root h. I'm sorry, root of 20 times h. Root of 20 times h multiplied by t plus half at square, which is 5t square. Now can I write it as 5t square, because then I'm not getting answers, right? So this might help. 5t square plus root of 20h times t minus 20 is equal to 0. Mm-hmm. All right. If I put the value of time as 2 seconds here, uh, again it's happening the same thing, because I don't know. Let me check the answer because I'm confused now. Okay, let me check the answer because I think I'm not getting this. Coincidentally, the answer is very, very close to 0. I just checked it. You will be surprised to know that. If my acceleration would not have been uh, if my acceleration would not have been 10, then the answer would have been correct actually. I took acceleration 10, they took acceleration 9.8. My method is absolutely correct. If I take the acceleration as 9.8, then things would have been different, because here it won't 20 and this 5 sorry 4.9 t square, that is 4.9 multiplied by 4, will not cut and I get my answer properly. So my method is perfect, but only thing they have taken g as 9.8 and their answer is coming to be 0.001, which is very close to 0. So our method is correct. Only thing, because we are taking g as 10, this is not yielding us answer, but that should not be the case. Either they should provide the value of g, because we are taking g for consideration, for simplification, as 10. we are not getting the answer. Okay, so yes, remember to put the value of A or G to be 9.8 and solve the same thing, and you will get the answer of put the value of T and you will get the answer of H. Okay, so this part is over. It was a long video, I know that, but it is over now. So I'm going to see you in the only one part is remaining, which will be very over soon, very over, and will be starting with the last part, that is vectors. See you in the next video. Bye bye.